Since the moment he was drafted with the last pick in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft, Xavier Legette has captured the hearts of many Carolina Panthers fans across the nation, not only for his unforgettable accent, but we all know that we got a dog in the deal as well. So in this video, I'm going to discuss whether or not I believe Xavier Legette could possibly be the greatest Carolina Panthers rookie wide receiver ever, and what it would take for him to reach those heights. And we are going to get into all of that right after this.
I'm from the foe, you dig?
Welcome to The Way I See It with Jamario Rashad. This is a Carolina Panthers fan channel. Please do me a favor by hitting the like button, and please make sure you subscribe as I am on my road to 3K. Trying to make sure my channel continues to grow before the season starts next year. Now that that's all out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the rest of the video. So, as the thumbnail suggests, as the intro suggests, we're here to discuss Xavier Legette, the guy that my Carolina Panthers most recently drafted in the first round, trading into the first round because we did not have a first round pick due to the Bryce Young trade the year prior. He is the newest and most exciting addition to this Carolina Panthers team. Now, with him being a dog, with everybody seeing his South Carolina highlights, what comes to mind immediately is how good could this guy be? Is there any potential for him to have an outstanding rookie season, stamping his name in Carolina Panthers lore in just one season with any performance that he could put out? So first, before I tell you what exactly he would need to do, we need to discuss who exactly currently is the guy that holds that title as the very best Carolina Panthers rookie receiver to ever strap up the cleats. And as it has you right now, I'm going to give you a little context as to just how good this guy was, what he was able to do. So the year was 2014. The Carolina Panthers were 11 years removed from their lone Super Bowl appearance, their lone Super Bowl loss that still hurts to this day. They were 5 years removed from the dynamic double trouble season, including D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, both rushing for over 1,000 yards in the same backfield in the same season. So at this point, the Carolina Panthers are searching for an identity. They have released the all-time, what many people consider to be the greatest player in Carolina Panthers history up to that point, in Steve Smith. He is now a Baltimore Raven. We are looking for a completely new identity. So moving into the 2024 season, Cam Newton is entering his third year. We are looking to establish a new identity. We have established that not only D'Angelo Williams, but at the time we figured that Jonathan Stewart was also a little injury prone. So we knew that Cam Newton was going to have to air the ball out this season to make sure that the Carolina Panthers offense was competent and could make it down the field game in and game out. So who did he have beside him that was able to make that happen? It was two players in particular. One is a Carolina Panthers legend that everybody already knows, be it the very first season of the 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons from our greatest tight end ever, Greg Olsen. And who else did he have to throw to? None other than Kelvin Benjamin, our first round pick that season, who was an absolute dog. Now, I know as time progressed, as time went on, there are many people that will just clown Kelvin Benjamin, that would just tell you all the stories about him gaining weight, about him falling off. Be that as it may, that is not what this is about. Rookie year Kelvin Benjamin was an absolute dog out there on the field. His first season in the NFL with a third-year Cam Newton, Kelvin Benjamin had 73 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, and accounted for 52 first downs, moving the chains and helping in the absence of double trouble in that injury-prone season to help Cam Newton progress not only as a passer, but to establish a new identity for the Carolina Panthers. Now, ever since then, nobody has been able to even come close to the numbers that Kelvin Benjamin was able to put up in that season. Even comparing his numbers to the rest of the NFL, he was only considered at that time, after 1 year, to be behind Odell Beckham and Mike Evans, who both have a case for the Hall of Fame once they retire. He was considered the third best of that group that year. So many people believe that Kelvin Benjamin would move on to be a superstar. Now, to keep this in context, what we have to know and what I have to mention is, with these 73 catches that Kelvin Benjamin had, he had what is the most to this day the most targets that a Carolina Panthers wide receiver has ever received in the history of the franchise. Cam Newton, of his 448 pass attempts that season, 145 of them went to Kelvin Benjamin. Nearly 30% of his passing output was to this one guy. That tells you just how much he trusted him and just how much he needed to depend on him. So keep that in context when we talk about force feeding and just what it takes to put these numbers out. Let's keep those things in perspective. So now that we understand that Kelvin Benjamin is the undisputed guy at this current moment, who exactly are the guys that would follow him? Who exactly round out the top 3 guys, so that we have a better understanding of just exactly what Xavier Legette would have to do just to be comparable to the top seasons that Carolina Panthers rookie receivers have had. So objectively, depending on who you ask, the number 2 and number 3 rookie wide receiver seasons that the Carolina Panthers have ever put out would have to belong to either DJ Moore in 2018 or either Kerry Colbert back in 2004. Now, if you ask my opinion, I am going to have to give the edge in this particular discussion to Kerry Colbert for these reasons. Keep in mind that 2004 was the season following our appearance in the Super Bowl, our first appearance in the Super Bowl ever up to that season. Steve Smith, all-world everything. Steve Smith only played in 1 game and missed the entire season. So this rookie wide receiver was stepping in to replace for this year all-world sensation Steve Smith a year after the Super Bowl, and he was still able to put up the most wide receiver yards a rookie Carolina Panthers receiver had ever done. Keeping that in total context, I have to give him the edge over DJ Moore in terms of saying who is the number 2 guy and number 3 guy. Without, if you look directly at if you look at their numbers, you'll see that they had relatively similar seasons. DJ Moore just had a lot more catches. That just shows that these guys were utilized in much different ways. DJ Moore was used primarily as a playmaker, get the ball in his hands in short yardage situations, let him get the yak yards up, and that's how he put up the numbers that he put up. And he was also at the mercy of the Carolina Panthers, just dumping the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, a running back who had more catches than him, just about every single time. So keeping that in context, that season that he had following that 2018 season, which many regard as the last real year that we got to see of Cam Newton, I can't say that his performance in that year putting up these numbers was as impactful as what I seen or what I remember or look at as when I dive into the numbers, what I see from Kerry Colbert in that year. So Kerry Colbert in that year. So I'm going to have to give the edge to Kerry Colbert. But you see that their numbers round out about just under 700 yards. The max about 5 touchdowns, right about 30 first downs. That is the impact that these top guys have had. So what exactly would it take for Xavier Legette to actually be compared to these guys and actually surpass these guys? Well, in my opinion, what we would need to see out of Xavier Legette would need to be in the neighborhood of somewhere between 70 to 80 receptions, at least 850 yards, and about 6 touchdowns. What you'll notice when you look at these numbers is none of these will actually be record-breaking. That won't be the highest number of receptions because that belongs to DJ Moore. It won't be the highest number of yards because that belongs to Kelvin Benjamin. And the touchdown record also belongs to Kelvin Benjamin. But what we need to remember is to keep everything in context of what's going on and who these guys were playing beside and who may have been taking targets away from who. Back, like I said, when we had Kelvin Benjamin, that was the year the Carolina Panthers were forced to just air the ball out, try their best to change their identity with Greg Olsen having the breakout season that he had, unlocking the middle of the field and opening it up for the X and the guy on the outfield and the guy on the outside in Kelvin Benjamin. That just opened up so many opportunities for him as a rookie that I said, again, he had the most targets that a Carolina Panthers wide receiver, not even a rookie wide receiver. Yes, the most, just for the rookies, the most targets that a Carolina Panthers rookie wide receiver has ever had in 145. Now, the chances of Xavier Legette getting that volume of target, that volume of opportunity, is so much less than likely, in my opinion. I think that for Xavier Legette to actually do that, there would have to be a lot of varying things, and whether it be injury, opportunity, fall off, there's just going to have to be a lot that actually happens. So if you ask my opinion of if I had to answer the question of if Xavier Legette could possibly uh, uh, conquer this feat, I would have to say no, in my opinion, simply because the circumstance that he finds himself in is not going to be suitable for him to put forth the numbers that I think it would take for him to get that title. With the Carolina Panthers trading for Deontay Johnson in the offseason, and it being apparent from day one, them putting it on Front Street, that he is going to be the X receiver. He is going to be the first read. He is going to be the guy that Bryce looks to get the ball to. That automatically gives you the idea that, okay, that's a large chunk of the passes, or the passing percentage that's going to be put out there, that is going to be exalted and given to Deontay Johnson. Well, also we have a veteran receiver in Adam Thielen, who is coming off yet another season that people feel like he, as a Carolina Panthers wide receiver, was force fed the ball, right or wrongly so. However you feel about that, he had over 100 catches and he had over 1,000 yards. So I know he had over 100 targets and 1,000 yards. So with him coming off of that season, one could expect that he is not going to be so willing to just give up his opportunity and to just show any type of fall off, especially with this going into being probably the last year that he will be a Carolina Panther. Adam Thielen is already working out in the offseason with former members of with members of his former team, the Minnesota Vikings. They're young players, so one can only surmise that he could already be plotting an exit after this season. So I do not think that he will be willing to just give anything up to Xavier Legette. So that automatically just forces me to believe that when rationing out the passes, who those will be going to, at very best, Xavier Legette will be third highest on that list, behind Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette. And that's not to mention that we also have another second-year wide receiver that was drafted in the second round last year, in Jonathan Mingo, who many people have already given up on. I've clowned time after time, but if history does tell us anything, there is a such thing as development, and year 1 to year 2 is when a lot of players see their biggest jump in development. That is just another body and another roadblock for which Xavier Legette may have to get by, just to be a featured wide receiver week to week, to get that volume of targets that it would even take to get similar numbers to DJ Moore, Kerry Colbert, or the guy at the very top in Kelvin Benjamin. So if you ask my opinion, is he going to be the greatest rookie Carolina Panthers wide receiver? I would have to say no. What the future holds for him, hey man, I actually do not know. But that is all I have for you all in this first video I've had back in a very long time. I appreciate you all tuning in. You all leave your comments down below. What do you think of Xavier Legette? Is it possible for him to have the greatest rookie wide receiver season in Carolina Panthers history? Is it possible for him to even come close to Kelvin Benjamin numbers? Could he crack that top 3 and be up there with DJ Moore, Kerry Colbert? You all let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and I will get back to you then. But until next time, I am Jamario Rashad. This is the way I see it, and I'm out. Peace.